Good afternoon, everyone. Give me a moment here to make sure that I'm live. Third time's the charm. There we go. Okay. So good afternoon, Carol Buckalew with Inky Stampers. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I have a really fun project, non-card. I made a gift box, and it's just you know, super easy to do. These boxes take no time at all to put together. I have used a couple of products to make this box. Hi Faith, thanks so much for joining. I have used the Joy of Noel dies. I did not use this stamp set, just the dies. And the only die from this I used was the Pine Bough. And then I used the Brightest Glow stamp set for the sentiment on the front of our box. And the Stylish Shapes dies. I used these squares here, the second and third from smallest square dies from Stylish Shapes dies here for our sentiment label. And then there's a few gold sequins on there. And that's it. Let's get started. Hey, Amy, Mary, thanks so much for joining. Oh, thank you, Amy. Appreciate it. So super quick and easy. And this box measures 3 by 5 inches. It is 2 inches tall. And after we make this, I'll just kind of tell you real quick how to figure out your box measurements if you want to make your own box. But the lid on this box fits nice and tightly. And I'm going to tell you how you get that to happen. Because if you were to score the box lid the same as the box base, you'd end up having to kind of scrunch your sides in on the box base in order to get the lid on. So I've got a little trick to show you on how to avoid that problem. And so we can get started. I'm going to bring in my scoring tool here. And our box base measures 9 by 7. And I am going to score this piece of cardstock at 2 inches on all sides. So I'm going to score on that first 2-inch mark. I'm going to turn it, just rotate it, and score at the 2-inch mark again. And rotate, and 2 inches. And rotate, and 2 inches. So this is our base. So this 2-inch score line is going to give us our height when we cut and fold this. And then our box lid measures 7 by 5. And I want to score this just under 1 inch. So basically the lip on the box is 1 inch high, approximately. But to get that box lid to fit nice and snugly, I've got my cardstock all the way up here in the corner. Let me pull it down just a smidge so you can see. I've got it all the way up here in the corner. What I want to do is shift this just ever so slightly to the right. I know that's hard for you to see, but I can see now that there's a gap in there. Now I'm going to score at the 1-inch mark, but it's really not 1 inch. It's more like 15/16 of an inch. And then I'm going to go ahead and rotate, shift that cardstock just slightly to the right. And I'm going to score again on the 1-inch mark. And one more time and shift it just slightly to the right. And then one more time, shift it again, slightly to the right. And just that little bit of a shift is going to make this lid fit really nicely. Get rid of my scoring tool here, and we can go ahead and start cutting. Now, if you so these little corner pieces, I think you can see that. So between these score lines here on the corners, these are going to be the tabs that actually will be used to hold the box together. And I am going to simply, let me think about this here. What am I doing? Yeah, I'm going to cut up here on that score line to that first scored intersection. And I'm going to do that on both sides. So just a straight cut, but I'm only cutting to that first score line. Now I'm going to go ahead and just take a little wedge off of each side. So I'm making kind of these little tabs, and this will, cutting that wedge in keeps you from seeing, you know, possibly the edge of that tab sticking up above the side of the box. And then we're going to go ahead and repeat that. And we're going to go ahead and take that little wedge, cut up to the score line, and then on each side of that tab, make a little wedge. And we'll repeat it here, up to the score line, take a little wedge of cardstock out. Hey, Rosie, thanks so much for joining. There we go. So that is our box lid. And then we're going to do the same thing for the box base. We're going to cut up on the score line to the first horizontal score line there. And we're going to take a wedge out of this tab as well, both on the right and left of the tab, like that. And then because this has more height, it tends to get really bulky. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut that tab right in half. And we'll go ahead and repeat this on all four corners. Go ahead and take the wedge out. And I'm just eyeballing it. And then we're going to take some of that bulk out of that tab and cut it in half. And then we'll repeat here for the remaining sides. Cut our little wedges out. Cut that tab in half. And one more corner here. Up to the score line. Cut your little wedges out. And then cut the tab in half. And we're only cutting that tab in half again for the box base. Okay, there we go. Now I am going to take some tear and tape. I see a little crumb hanging here. Let me trim that off so it doesn't get in our way. I'm going to take a little bit of tear and tape, and I like to just cut sections off of my tear and tape. I know lots of folks have different things they like to do with it, how they dispense it. This always works best for me. And I'm just going to go ahead and get tear and tape on all of these tabs. There we go. Hope everybody's doing well today. We are still enjoying some really gorgeous weather here in Delaware. It has been just absolutely spectacular weather. Highs in the 60s. I think we're hitting 71 today. 69 now, so I guess we'll probably hit 70, which would be nice. But we've had really, really blue, sunny skies. It's just been really, really nice. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and, whoops. All right, I've got tear and tape sticking to me. All right, Get a little bit more here for our box lid. And on the box lid, I'm only putting a very small piece. You really don't need a lot for this. The tab is so small. Oh, you saw my photo, Faith, of the, yeah. We've got some pretty fall color finally coming in. And I snapped that photo the other day. I was sitting on the deck just getting some air. And, oh, the sky was just so incredibly blue. You don't always see the sky that blue. It was really beautiful. Okay, so let's, and I did not mention this, but this is really important. Wow, Rosie, you're at 60 degrees today and snow tomorrow. Oh my, with highs in the 20s. Wow. So you're really chilling off there, kiddo. What I didn't mention was that when you put the tear and tape on your tabs, right, that you're going to use to adhere the sides together, you want to have your piece face up. So this is face up. I'm going to go ahead, I didn't burnish this yet, so I'm going to go ahead and burnish all of my score lines. And this is kind of an important step because this is going to help keep your box square. We hope, right? That's the goal anyway. And so we'll go ahead and just get those all scored. Let's do our box lid. So again, the tear and tape gets put on the top side of your piece, either your lid or your box. And one more side, and then we can go ahead and get these put together. There we go. And I'm just going to take my take your pick tool. My goodness, that didn't come out right. And I'm just using the pokey end here to lift up the covers off of that tear and tape. And it comes off pretty easily. So she says, right? Well, it hasn't fought me yet, so I'm doing pretty good. There we go. $69 and $70 for you, Faith. Those are nice temperatures. Yeah, you're about the same as us. Just perfect weather. All right, I've got all of my tear and tape removed. So what I now want to do is this little tab is getting folded in. I'm trying to get that situated, and I'm just going to line up the edge of my side there with the edge of that little tab, and we'll go ahead and tuck this one in. But it's kind of helpful too if you hold your thumb there kind of as a stop, and that kind of helps you get your corner nice and square. And then we will go ahead and get the next side adhered, and then our last side. And I apologize if you're not getting a good view there, but hopefully you are. All right, so there is our little box. And we're going to go ahead and put our lid together. So right now, Stampin' Up! Is having a joining promotion. You can get 35% more in your starter kit, or 35% off of your starter kit. You can grab all of the details out on my blog. It is a great joining promotion. It will be going on for about another week or so until the end of October. So I'm doing the same thing here. I'm just lining up my corners, making sure they're nice and straight before adhering that tear and tape. And then the same here on this corner. And just rinse and repeat. There we go. There we go. So let's see how I did making our box lid. This should fit nice and snugly, but not so tight. Yes, it's perfect. Okay, awesome. I'm just looking here. I can see that tab is sticking up ever so slightly, but I don't think it's troublesome. All right, so our box lid fits on nice and snugly, and that little bit of wiggle room that we gave ourselves when we scored the lid, you know, prevents kind of your box sides from caving in trying to get the lid on. All right, I have here some of the Joyful Specialty Designer Series paper, and that's what I chose to put on to decorate the top and sides of my box. And I'm going to go ahead and mat this paper up to a piece of Distress Gold specialty paper. This paper right now is sold out, but it will be back in stock. It's hopefully you stocked up before it sold out. I think it's sold out a couple of times already. It gets very popular around the holidays, and it's obviously beautiful. Gorgeous paper, but I'm just going to go ahead and get this matted up to that paper. And the Joyful DSP here, the one with the music notes, this paper, you get 4 different patterns in the pack and 2. Oh, it just restocked because I just checked, Amy, this morning, and it was out. So it must have just come back. Awesome. That's good news. Thanks so much for letting me know. You must get an advance heads up, Amy. Because I just looked at the inventory list an hour ago. Okay, awesome. That's good news. So if you need Distress Gold, people, go get it. Go get it before it's gone. All right, I'm just adhering this to the top of my box. All of the measurements for the box with instructions will be on my blog tomorrow. So you can grab everything there if you'd like to recreate this. Oh, you refresh the screen a million times. Yeah, that works too. And then I've got some little strips here. These are, I believe, 7/8 of an inch wide. So our little lid lip there is 1 inch. So these are just 1/8 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch less. And I'm going to go ahead. Now, these I did not mat, but you certainly could. And I'm making sure this print is directional. So I'm just making sure that my music notes are headed in the right direction. And we'll go ahead and get these glued up. I know this music paper is just gorgeous. Oh, Rosie, yeah, you better get that paper ordered. I'll tell you, the way the paper has been so popular this holiday season. It's really been, and that autumn fall paper, which just came back, by the way, and that has sold out a couple of times, but it just came back. So if you're needing any of the autumn paper or any of the Christmas papers, definitely grab those. I think it's Shining Christmas. Was that the paper that just came back? I put it on Facebook, and already I can't remember. So I think we only maybe have 1 Christmas paper right now that is not available, but everything else should be. All right, and I'm just trying to get these as straight as possible here, so they kind of line up from end to end. And 1 more to go. They did create especially beautiful paper, Faith. I agree with you. The paper has just been, I've really been enjoying it. All right, let me get this turned right side up. And this is our last side to put on. So this is Cherry Cobbler cardstock, by the way. And the paper, the Designer Series paper that I'm putting on, is gold and Cherry Cobbler. So that is right side up. All right, that is our box. So that was like super easy, wasn't it? So the only stamping I have to do is, yes, they do. Stampin' Up! Does have some good artists. They create some really awesome, beautiful products for us to use and enjoy for sure. So I just have a piece of Berry Vanilla. I use the second from the smallest square die from the Stylish Shapes dies, and I'm inking this sentiment up in Cherry Cobbler, and I just want to stamp that off. Okay, looks like my stamp is on there straight. Let me go ahead and get this stamped on. And I'm going to stamp it a little higher, only because I'm going to be adding something there at the bottom. So I want this to sit a little bit higher, the sentiment. Oh, thank you, Rosie. It's, I love making boxes, and I'm going to share with you guys how easy it is to do. And then here I've got another square also cut from Stylish Shapes dies from the Distress Gold paper. And that was the third from the smallest die that I used for the mat. Yeah, so this paper is all about the Cherry Cobbler and Distress Gold. It's just so pretty. Very, very classy looking. And let me try and get that on there straight. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and get some Stampin' Dimensionals on the back here of my sentiment label. I don't like saggy sentiment labels, so I always make sure I've got them well supported. Get the dimensional covers off here. And I am going to attempt to get my label. Oops. You can kind of use the lines on the paper to help you get your label on straight. That looks pretty good. Get rid of that scrap paper there. And then this is from the Joy of Noel dies. I cut a pine bow out of, the Distress Gold. And I'm going to go ahead and just adhere that to the bottom corner of my sentiment label there. And you don't need a whole lot of glue for that. And we're just going to go ahead and put it off here, kind of hanging off the side there. All right, almost done here. And then I've got some Simply Elegant trim, keeping with the gold theme. I'm going to go ahead and tie a tiny little bow. This Simply Elegant trim really likes to kind of snake all over the place too. So you kind of have to be patient with it. All right, so just a tiny little bow, and we're going to add that here just below. See, I'm trying to convince my little bow and to point down that way. I think I've got it. Maybe. Let me see there. I think that's good. Let me go ahead and grab a mini glue dot. That's why you use whole dimensionals, Faith. Yeah. They have dimensionals do the trick for me. I just like that I can get them in smaller spaces. And I just kind of rolled that glue dot up just so that I can go ahead and get my little bow put down there. And the only thing we have left for this box is some sequins. These are the pastel adhesive back sequins. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab a medium one, and I think I'm going to go ahead and put it right down here in the corner. And then I'm going to grab some small gold sequins and just put them on the box front. Whoops, I lost that one. I don't know where he went. Let me grab another one. He got away from me. And let's put that out there. There we go. So that is our box. Super quick, super easy. And so the way that you would determine the size of your box, you're only going to be limited by the size of your cardstock, right? So the biggest sheets of cardstock you can get are 12 by 12. But what I did was I determined that I wanted my box to be, 3 by 5, and I wanted it to be 2 inches tall. So I took, basically, so you're adding 2 inches on each side, and that is your height once you score and fold it up, right? So so this direction would be 3 inches plus 2, right? 2 for the sides. And then you're going to do the same thing for the length. So this is 5 inches. I want a 2-inch high box. So I'm going to add 2 to this end, 2 to this end. And so that's how I came up with the 9 by 7 on the measurements for the box. And then the lid only has a 1-inch height. So it would be, it would be 1 plus 3 plus 1, 1 plus 5 plus 1 to get your measurements. So you pretty much just need to determine the size you need. So, this little bone folder is about, about 6 inches high. Say you wanted to wrap it. It's no more than 1 inch wide. You'd be able to easily figure out the measurements that you would need to cut your cardstock to make a little box for whatever you may need, a pen set or something like that, or who knows. But anyway, super fun to make, super quick to make, and just so pretty. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, and wishing you all a great rest of the day. Take care. Bye-bye.